While I've never been formally diagnosed, my friends and brother are absolutely convinced that I have some form of autism. I'm the type of person who can pick up and learn something in an instant provided I actually want to do said thing. However, all I've used this autist superpower on is getting really good at PvP games minutes into playing them and then getting angry at them like an hour later. Yet somehow, this is not nearly as much of a waste of potential as RWBY's own Adam Taurus. Adam is a case that needs to be studied on how someone can be the most bong-water writer imaginable, screw up the easiest setup plotline ever, then convince your fans that it was good. Adam was my favorite character in RWBY. He's one of those dudes that look badass no matter where in the episode you pause. And to be honest, Miles and Carrie should be crucified for botching the guy with the best character design in the whole show. Yeah, he may have groomed Blake, but come on, look at him. I wouldn't be complaining if I was in Blake's shoes. Everyone and their mother has done a rewrite on Adam Taurus, so you know what? I thought I would as well. I kinda did it to a smaller degree in my Monochrome and Bumblebee videos, but I want to dedicate an entire video on showing just how easy it would have been to write a good antagonist. Before I get started though, I want to make something clear. In my last two videos of this, my goal was to just slightly change events to make my rewrite work while also keeping the same overall plot. Not this time though. In order to make my ideal hunky Adam a reality, I've got to start from scratch and completely revamp the world of Remnant. One really minor thing that annoys the hell out of me in RWBY is how all the nations are called kingdoms, even though by definition, not a single one is. They're all ruled by nameless council members instead of, a fucking king. There's the first major change here. The kingdoms are actual kingdoms, with the exception of Atlas, which will be more akin to an empire. Do you guys remember at the start of RWBY, there was constant mention of a war that happened, then it was never acknowledged again? Let's bring that back. Vale, Vacuo, and Mistral were fighting together in a war against Atlas. Think something like the Northern Realms versus Nilfgaard in The Witcher. The war ended because Atlas essentially had a monopoly on dust, making them too powerful to reckon with. After said war, Atlas expanded their dust operations to the rest of the world, making Remnant too dependent on them to actually fight back. By the way, I'm completely ditching maidens and the relics, because to keep it $150 with you, those are fucking stupid. Atlas would later build its own CCT tower and Huntsman Academy to stay connected to the rest of the world. But how are Faunus treated in this world, since that'll be the biggest factor in all of this? Each kingdom deals with Faunus in its own way. Vacuo mostly accepts them as they see strength being important above all. Vale completely bans them from entering the kingdom. I imagine something like the Khajiit from Skyrim, where they're just camped outside of the city walls. Of course, Atlas uses them for slave labor and doesn't even see them as people, made worse by the fact that Atlas basically won the war, so their influence on how Faunus were treated grew more around the world. In my version of Remnant, Mistral was once a nation entirely composed of Faunus. It was essentially their original home. However, a long time ago in Remnant's history, humans came around and conquered Mistral, making it their own, and the Faunus essentially became second-class citizens there. This will become important later, so keep that one in mind. Now we can get to the topic of the video and discuss Adam and his backstory. I figured I'll just do it now instead of later, so the stuff I say makes sense. Adam Taurus, as a child, lived in the Schnee Manor with his father, who was a servant to the Schnees. More specifically, he was a personal servant to Willow Schnee. I don't know what either of their canon ages are, so I'm just gonna say Winter and Adam are roughly the same age here, and that the two of them were childhood friends during this period. They were constantly playing together while Adam's father was working, and Winter, being the forward-thinking main/side character she is, doesn't have a problem with the fact that Adam is a Faunus, because she just likes hanging out with them. One day, though, both Adam and his father are forcibly taken from the manor without explanation and hauled off to a Schnee dust mine in the middle of nowhere, and are forced into slave labor. I could string along the why, but I'm just gonna tell you now. Adam is secretly a bastard Schnee child. Born from an affair between his father and Willow, the plan was to originally keep them around and hide the fact that Adam is a Schnee. They simply figured when he got older, he could just hide his eyes and be Winter's manservant or something. Things continue like that for a time until Willow decided it was time to cover the whole thing up and wipe her hands clean, so she's the one who had the two sent to the mines. It could have been Jacques, and it probably would have been in character, but I want it to be Willow because I like the idea of both of Weiss's parents being horrible people, just in different ways. Not too long after they're sent to the mines, Adam's father is killed for reasons that I didn't come up with. Adam from then on spends the rest of his childhood and early adulthood as a slave, until the other Faunus plan an escape from the mines and, of course, want Adam to come with them. They make their daring escape, but one by one they are all killed off except for Adam. He's briefly caught by a guard and in self-defense accidentally kills him. This is the first time Adam takes a life. Adam is the only one to escape, but at an immense cost. He's been traumatized from killing someone and is racked by survivor's guilt for being the only one to get away. Adam wanders the frozen forests of Solitos, completely lost, and right as he's about to succumb to the wilderness, Adam is saved by Gira Belladonna, who at this point is living in Mantle along with Blake and the MILF whose name I forgot. Mantle is 100 times more ghetto in this version because, to be honest, in RWBY proper, if you just put like a clear sky over the city, it would look like a really lovely town and not the home of the Brokies who couldn't make it in Atlas. Adam is temporarily taken in by the Belladonnas, and it's here I would give Adam his signature outfit, a gift from Gira from when he was younger and slimmer as well. Of course, it would be plain, and over time he would add on to it like in the character short. The Belladonnas aren't planning to stay in Mantle though, as they plan to travel to Anima, where a small community of faunus awaits them, and they want Adam to come along. With no reason to refuse, Adam joins them. I should mention at this point Adam is already wearing a blindfold to hide his eyes, not because they were branded this time, but because the Shnees have a very distinct eye color and he doesn't want people knowing he's related to them. At first, it would just be out of caution, and the wrong person finding out could have him killed. Later, though, it becomes his biggest source of shame, being related to the biggest oppressors of his race. This community in Anima would become Adam's new home for a while. I imagine this community is something like one of those oversized Mexican families where there's just a shit ton of them, and most are very loosely related, but they all treat each other like family regardless. It's very tight-knit, and it doesn't take Adam long for him to acclimate. During their stay on, like, the TV or something, there have been multiple news stories on a new terrorist organization called the White Fang that's been causing problems all over Remnant. Adam admonishes them at first, believing that violence isn't the answer to solve their oppression. Adam isn't a pacifist, though. In fact, in order to protect this place he's called home, he decides to learn and fight to defend himself. Obviously, a Huntsman Academy wouldn't do because his horns are pretty damn obvious, so he seeks an alternative. Throughout his life, Adam has heard whisperings of a secret clan of warriors who could go toe-to-toe with Huntsmen and not only live, but win as well. This clan would be what we know as the Bronwyn tribe. Was anybody else disappointed when Volume 5 came around and all the Bronwyn tribe ended up being was a generic bandit group with a leader who stuck out like a sore thumb and didn't look anything like a bandit? In my new RWBY, the Bronwyn tribe is closer to something like the Assassins from Assassin's Creed, a secret group of ninja-like figures who are fighting their own secret wars. He proves himself to enter as a sort of initiate and enters the clan. Over time, he catches the eye of the clan's leader, one Raven Bronwyn. I'm sure everyone and their mother saw that Adam and Raven have the exact same color scheme and grim mask and thought there would be some connection there, only for the two to never interact. Fuck you, Miles and Carrie. I hope you get on an elevator and it just falls. In Minecraft. Raven personally trains Adam as her apprentice, and it's here I have a dilemma. Obviously, since Adam is a Shnee, he would have the Shnee family semblance, so how does Moonslice fit into this? Well, I was half tempted to just lampshade it and say he can just do that. He is him, as the kids say. But then I had the idea of Moonslice being an outside power that Adam learns from the Bronwyns. Magic in RWBY is all fucky-wucky, and they really shot themselves in the foot by saying magic isn't real, which makes doing fantastical shit harder to explain. So it's just an ancient technique few in the Bronwyn tribe clan are capable of wielding, and Raven, seeing great potential in Adam, takes a chance and teaches him the power of Moonslice, something that would bite her in the ass later on. In order to wield this power, he also needs a blade capable of handling its force. Raven would gift Adam the sword part of Wilton Blush. He would go on to make the gun sheath part later to make it more his own. It's also here Adam would get his iconic Grim mask. Everyone in the Bronwyn clan wears similar mask, and his is a sign of him being accepted as one of them. Adam returns to his home in Anima and decides to help the community by teaching the children and young adults self-defense so they can protect themselves. One of the students among them being our local cat girl, Blake, someone Adam would take a huge interest in. Not romantically, I'm not doing that this time around. Blake becomes Adam's most promising student, far exceeding the others, mainly due to her having a semblance. Because Blake is a close friend of his and an exceptional student, Adam goes out of his way to forge Gamble's shroud and give it to her because Blake always admired Wilton Blush and wanted something like it of her own. It could be like a birthday present or something, I'll leave it to you to decide. As a sign of true friendship, Adam decides to let Blake in on the truth and reveal to her his Shinny eyes, something he hasn't shown anyone ever, even his friends back at the mines. Throughout all of this, Adam swore against killing anybody, and even makes Blake swear the same thing when he gives her Gamble Shroud. The guilt he felt when he killed the SDC guard was, and still is, too much for him to bear, and he doesn't want Blake to suffer the same thing. Adam has taken a lot of shit his whole life, but he refuses to break. He doesn't want to sink as low as humanity and become monsters like the White Fang. Time skip, time skip, time skip. Adam is away from the community one day for nondescript reasons. Upon his return, he's greeted with a horrifying sight. The SDC are here, burning the place to the ground. As stated, Atlas has expanded all over the world after the war, so it's natural for them to have influence even in the continent that Mistral has domain over. Everything Adam has been building up, the friends he's made, the memories he shares with them, all gone in an instant. The only ones to live are Blake and her hot mom, as they were also away at the time. I would kill Gira here as well, since I imagine him to be a father-like figure for Adam, and is there any better character motivation than a dead parent? Were this to be an actual fanfic or rewrite, I would actually give those characters names and personalities to make the scene impactful, but since this is just a rough outline, I can't be bothered. Finally, after taking non-stop abuse and putting up with it for his entire life, Adam finally snaps and kills every man and woman who set fire to the place, leaving no survivors. Blake only just arrives to see the aftermath. The young, naive girl believes that Adam did the right thing, that this was justice, but her mom sees it differently and forces Adam to leave while she cleans up the remnants. After his carnage, Adam leaves, wandering anima. Without a purpose, he doesn't know what to do with himself. Blake follows after him, of course, as she sees Adam as a hero and wants to follow in his footsteps. After days of wandering the road, the two stumble into a woman who witnessed Adam's massacre and wishes to extend to them an offer. This woman's name is Sienna Khan. Of course, simply asking them to join wouldn't work. Before all of this, Adam believed the White Fang to be maniacs, but this Sienna is more cunning and manipulative than the one we know. She sees how far Adam has fallen, how mentally exhausted he is, and is simply looking for a reason to continue going. She whispers sweet nothings into Adam's ear, telling him what he wants to hear. She says how she can give him purpose, how she can help him get back at the ones who wronged him, and all he has to do is serve her and her ambitions. Adam agrees. He's fallen for Sienna's spell, and over time comes to completely fall for Sienna and her vision. Not romantically, mind you. She gains complete control over Adam, and she didn't have to lift a finger. Adam believes that he would be nothing without Sienna, that she's his savior, and he owes everything to her. Adam Taurus far exceeds Sienna in strength. It's not even remotely close. He himself is also charismatic in his own way. He's able to rally Faunus to join Sienna's cause, but in reality, most of them joined for Adam, not Sienna. Were he to rebel and overthrow Sienna like he did in Volume 5, a lot of people would be perfectly chill with that. But he doesn't. More like he wouldn't, as he's dedicated mind and soul to Sienna. And now that Adam has joined her, Sienna now has the ultimate weapon to enact her goals. Oh, and of course Blake joined as well. Almost forgot about her. The three form a close inner circle, pretty much making them the three highest ranking in the White Fang. Why would Blake be there? Good old-fashioned nepotism, baby. Why isn't Elia here? Because screw Elia, that's why. I don't care if she's voiced by V Cyberpunk. I hate Elia. She sucks. That pretty much concludes his origin story and brings us to what would be present-day RWBY, where the events of this hypothetical show take place.